I'm Andrea Gamez Vasquez, and I'm Joe's one of 3 sisters. We lost our father at a very, very early age. Joe was very young, but he has memories of him, and I think that carried a big weight on him for a long, long time. Probably even till now. He still felt very responsible for the family. So much that I really don't have a lot of memories of playing with him. My grandmother, I remember being little and I remember laughing because I was at the gate and my grandmother was chasing Joe across the street with a chancla. And I have no idea what he did, but that's not important. The point is that he's human, he's a pingo also, and my grandmother was chasing after him.
He served not only as our elder brother, but as the role model, the male role model, the father figure, because we grew up mostly in a single head of household. Being 8, all of us had different roles. We went from 18-year-olds to a newborn. Between my mother and my brother Joe, they were the ones who ran the family and set the bar on our futures and what we needed to do.
And he was always studying, or he was always working, newspaper, whatever. He was always working and trying to help. Then later, when more of the kids came in, he still did the same thing. We went through a lot of hardships, but he never lost focus of family.
I remember one time, he was already at UT Austin. He'd come on the weekends, he was ready to go back. And my brother, Tito Alberto, said, okay, well, then we'll take you. He said, yeah, I don't want mom to drive anymore. She's getting older and tired. She's got to go to work. And so you come with me. It was an adventure when we went to Austin to leave him at school, because we stopped by Landa Park, get an ice cream. My brother Tito said, we don't have time this time. We got to go on. And my younger brother and sister then started, we wanted to stop and get an ice cream. So Jose Angel said, no, we'll stop. He was late. He was late because we did that, but it was his sense that we needed to do it. And again, that's a sense of being the role model, but also to make it fun for us. Those were good memories of us.
Joe is a product of the west side of San Antonio. He came from very humble beginnings, and he saw a lot of injustices. He was nominated student council president. His first assignment was to tell students that if they spoke Spanish, they were going to be suspended. If you don't make that statement in the assembly, we'll take your position away. He said, I do not agree to that. It's just always been his drive that people that cannot represent themselves, the little guy, the one who can't afford things, had representation that they deserved.
He was going to law school during the height of the civil rights movement, the 70s. All of my family was very involved in the civil rights movement. Joe wanted to help the people and have the tools to help them. And what better way than to go into the legal system? We were so underrepresented. There were a lot of families that had personal injuries or they would get into accidents. There were no lawyers that would take their cases because there's no money in you, or they made them pay a lot. I know that Joe did do a lot of pro bono work at the very beginning.
He didn't worry about people paying him. He just wanted to help them. And I had to kind of like finally tell him, you got to charge some because we got bills to pay, you know? But he knew that they needed an attorney, they needed a voice for them. He was doing 15 to 18 cases a day. The judges were calling a special docket for him in the afternoon and saying, you need to get some help. You can't be doing all this by yourself. And that's the way it started, even when we didn't have a lot of money.
He was extremely busy doing general practice. So at that time he did criminal, family, bankruptcy, and I can tell you that my father was always there for us. Whether he came home after 5 o'clock or I had a basketball game or lacrosse game, he was always there to support us. He truly loves people. He never talks about his financial success. He'd rather give credit to people and to communities and organizations when he can.
He always would say, Carmen, the man upstairs knows what we do. We don't need for other people to know. He just didn't want others to know that he was doing scholarship for students, that he was paying mortgage payments for clients who were going to lose their houses. He'd always say, God blesses us so we can bless others.
My dad has a very strong faith. Faith was a huge part of our upbringing. There wasn't a time where faith didn't encompass kind of our daily life and what we did. We attended some wonderful Catholic and religious schools growing up. We did not ever miss church. It didn't matter if we stayed up late, had to rush out the door in the morning and grab a breakfast bar. He really values church and growing in his faith, and it's such a wonderful community, not just attending church, but he builds relationships within the church. We pray and we look to God to help us get through times, and my parents always have a scripture for us, and it doesn't matter whether we're praying for a friend or one of our own family members. Our faith gets us through our day-to-day routines.
Our faith in God is what has really been the glue to our family. It's God first, and I think it's incredible. Guess what makes me so proud is the fact that he doesn't want any recognition for anything he does for others.
Seeing a person that has a heart, a person who wants to do things, and a person who's human, and his commitment to do things to make sure we lead a better life. I don't think people realize how much he does give back.
My dad has always been very involved in the community. He's passionate about where he comes from. One of the first things that he'll tell you how he grew up, where he grew up, and it's where he chooses to give back. The organizations that my dad gives to, both my dad and my mom, both being alumni of SAISD, they want to make sure that they give back so that children that are from the very same side of town that they were raised have an opportunity, and quite frankly, have opportunities that they didn't have. I remember during COVID, when people were afraid to get out, they were the first ones that I saw that were out there handing out food, and they're doing back to school supplies drives. They want to make sure that these students, children and families don't go without. My parents have instilled in us that we're nothing if we don't give back. We're very blessed, very fortunate, but my parents work really hard, and they could choose to keep all their money and invest in themselves, but they choose to give back. And I really admire that about my parents. It's become second nature for us as children, is to find ways to give back as well in our own way, really preparing me for the future, because to be honest, they won't be around always. And I'm just really thankful that I have them as parents and as mentors, and hopefully to continue their legacy of giving back. So I'm really grateful for that.
If you're with him, you notice that he opens the door for others. A couple of weeks ago, my husband and I and our two kids, we were at a Starbucks, and a gentleman came in, and he could not open the door because he was in a wheelchair, and he had his pastry in his hand, and my husband was kind of getting our kiddos seated, and I went to the door and I opened the door. After I did that, my husband told my kids, "I hope that you will be like your mom someday," and she reminds me of her dad. He said, "I hope that you will grow up and open the door for others."
A lot of times lawyers get reputations that it's all about being financially successful, but deep down inside, a lot of lawyers truly get involved in this, and they go through the studying and everything so that they can help people and then in return give back to the community. And that's something that I've seen our firm really step up in the last 5 years.
Joe continues to tell the lawyers, "I don't need to really be doing this, but I do it because I want to help people, and you guys have to carry my legacy. When I am gone, remember, continue this legacy of helping people, putting your best foot forward even when you don't feel like it." And that's truly what he believes. And we have excellent lawyers who believe like he does.
Gamez Law Fights means that no matter what the situation is, no matter what the obstacle is, our firm's gonna fight for you. Every day we're taking on big insurance companies, we're taking on billion-dollar businesses, and we're competing against them. And at the same time, we're also taking on firms that have 20, 30 lawyers, and we're competing at the highest level against them. We're extremely competitive. We want our firm to continue to grow in the right direction. To see this firm continue to do what we're doing in the community and flourish for another 50 years. I think that's going to be something that's really important. I hope that a lot of the attorneys that are here will stick around to be a part of it and become partners and things like that, so that we can continue to do what we're doing right now. Personally, it makes me very proud of my father. He's done a lot of great work. We're celebrating his 50th year today, and I want him to also enjoy this moment. This is his day. It's an incredible accomplishment, and we've been blessed beyond anything I could have ever dreamed of. And so it's been, a great run, and we look forward to another 50 years.
Joe, that we're proud of you. And I know, like I said before, we all took our different paths to help the community. You chose the legal path, and you've done amazing with it. And we love you.
On this 50th anniversary, Jose Angel, Joe, felicidades, congratulations for a well-deserved recognition. We're very proud of you, all the brothers and sisters. We love you, and we wish you the best, and continue being a funny guy as well.
Dad, congratulations on 50 years. We're so proud of you. It has been amazing to watch your journey from when we were little kids. You just worked so hard, but that has remained the case. You've never stopped working hard. You've never complained. You've always put your faith in your family first. And we're just so proud of you. Congratulations on 50 years, and cheers to another 50. We're gonna fast forward 3 years. I just passed the bar, so I hate to tell you, I gotta take your office over now. Thanks so much for everything you've done. Love you.
I would like my father, Joe Gamez, to know we appreciate all his hard work, everything he did to give us a better life. There's no question about that. He came from the west side of San Antonio. He's extremely humble, and I'll be forever grateful for everything he's done for me and my family.
Joe, I love you very much. I'm so proud of the man you are. I'm so proud of what you've done for the community. And every day just doesn't cease to amaze me what you're so willing to do for others. Yay, Gamez la fight.